Welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show. First of all, if we haven't seen you in a while, hi, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the Marianne Hickman Show family, this group of people that is just so focused on becoming better public speakers. We all hang out together on the internet. Maybe you're in my community. Maybe you're brand new to the show. And by the way, if someone sent you this episode, just make sure you send them a thank you note. Make sure you send them, say, hey, thank you for thinking of me. This is great. This episode is all about short form content. Now, you and I know as public speakers, we kind of feel like we need to be omnipresent nowadays, now that we're competing with social media and influencers and marketing and all of this crazy stuff. Your message, in truth, it just needs to get out there, whether you're on physical stages in front of people in a room or whether you're on digital stages like social media, Instagram. And today my conversation with Justin is all about that short form media. We talk about how to really tap into human psychology, how to make that short form media something that people really enjoy and they come back for and they share. There's some really cool ideas in this episode, including the social media buddy system. I thought this was a great idea. So tune in, check it out. And if while you're listening to this, someone pops into your mind to share this episode with, share it with them. Send over, share the love, share the goodness, and we'll see you in the episode. So, Justin, the reason that I wanted to have you on the show is most of the big 10,000 foot reason. The reason I invited you is because our visions align so well. And I listen to Mel Robbins' podcast all the time. It's usually like when I'm in the red light bed or in the sauna at the gym. That's when I listen to her stuff. And one of the things that she does that I thought was brilliant was every guest that she brings on, she asks, what can the audience expect to learn from you during the podcast before the episode is over? How will they be better off? So I'm going to pose that question to you so that you can give that juicy hook, if you will, to the audience. And then I have a whole slew of things I want to know about.
Yeah.
But tell us about that.
Steal that because I run my own podcast. I'm going to steal that. That is good. That's a better way to introduce a podcast than tell me more about yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Well, what your listeners and viewers can expect from this is you're going to learn about the importance of short form video in a B2B setting and how it paves the way for better quality conversations once you're in the sales call.
I love that. So short form is king right now. It's, I mean, I don't remember which platform started. It was probably TikTok, and then Instagram was like, ooh, Reels are a good idea. And then we've got YouTube picking up the bandwagon, even Spotify. They do a single short form per podcast so that you can get a little.
Realize that.
Yeah, it's really cool. You get a little teaser for the show that you can put on and people can click on it and watch the next episode. So short form media has become so commonplace. I think it really, if we're going to talk history, it probably started back in the days of 30-second commercials. That was the first short form media.
Yeah, that's a great example.
You know, and it's been around forever. And I think short form media is designed to grab the attention and keep the attention. If you can keep it for 30 seconds, you're ahead of a lot of people. But it's not a hat that most entrepreneurs expected to wear when they started getting in their business of choice. Have you run into that a lot?
Hey, what's up? Marianne Hickman here. Listen, I'm interrupting my own show because I want to give you something. Now, you guys all want to get on more stages. I've got a free resource for you of stages that are just clamoring for guests. They need guests on a daily, weekly, sometimes monthly basis. This is my podcast database. Now, what I'm going to do is have you go to mariannehickman.com/database. Once you put in your information there, I'm going to send this to you totally for free. Open up this database. You're going to click through it, find the next podcast that's relevant to your topic, hit the application button, show up on their podcast, get in front of their people, and share your content. Remember, mariannehickman.com/database. Let's get you unlocked.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The pushback I get all the time is, well, I prefer being behind the screen, behind the scenes. Why do I have to do the content? That's what our marketing team is for, right? There's common objections like that, and it is definitely a talking point I address.
So the mission that we share is you and I both have this mission of finding the best people on the planet and giving them the megaphone. Where did that come from for you anyway?
Yeah, that is a fantastic question. I've never been asked that before. I think it comes from my own experience speaking and probably a little bit of my own experience. So you could say, well, it's not like I don't consider myself to be like a subject matter expert or like a deep knowledge. You know, I've never written a book. I've been on podcasts. I do my own content, but I don't claim to be somebody that knows everything about this topic. There are people who know more technically, and there are people ahead of me that know more than me, of course. But I've been in marketing for a long time. You could argue since middle school. There's a whole backstory there. Trying to draw logos of my buddies and like coming up with new brand names. So I've been aware as a result of that. I'm bringing that up because I say that I've been aware of what gets attention and what doesn't get attention for a long time. And it's always struck me how there are incredibly smart people that are almost complete unknowns sometime, until maybe they write a book or until they're on the podcast that's well known and somebody, brings them up. I'm sure if you've ever listened to a podcast and you know the host, and you listen to the podcast regularly, and all of a sudden they have somebody on, you're like, where did this person come from?
And
right?
How come I never knew about them?
How come I never knew about them? And I think just being an observer of attention over my life, I have attention deficit disorder. So I'm very familiar with how attention works and doesn't work. It's always struck me that there are people who don't get attention who should, and vice versa.
You come at this from a very, very unique perspective. I would argue the science of attention, the study of attention, is something that you have jumped into very deeply since junior high. Maybe you didn't even know you were doing it. And at the same time, I didn't know
at the time. I just thought it was cool that there were brands and you could make a brand and you could build it like that. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Which one of it? I remember sitting in middle school and designing logos and stuff. Most of the time it was like the boy that I liked, and I would put his last name in front of my name and practice my signature.
Yeah.
That was my new brand, right? But I think all of us took a little bit of our artistic side, and we're like, if I were to design a logo, what would it be and what company? At least I hope so. I think that every kid should be given the chance to walk a little bit into entrepreneurship and see if it's for them. But you come at it from an attention deficit disorder, and I think that uniquely positions you as an expert, because as far as attention spans go, you've got the most potent.
Yeah, I've got the least amount of it. Maybe not the least amount of it, but one of the least amounts of it, because I have a diagnosed condition that says I do.
Oh, that's crazy. So how does that show up? Have you ever created that parallel?
How does that show up in what way? In my business?
Yeah, you've kind of created a business. I have a friend who's dyslexic, and he's created a whole business about helping people become high achievers because he's dyslexic. And it sounds like you've taken this label, if you will, and you've made it a superpower.
That's fascinating, because I literally never made that connection until right now. But you asked a good question that helped me be introspective and kind of bring that out as a point, because it's top of mind for me. I do have ADHD, and it doesn't affect me to the degree I know it affects some people. Some people would call what I have high functioning ADHD, but I would argue it's high functioning because I created systems around it to compensate for my weaknesses, which is a common trait with with people who have ADHD who are entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs. And I wouldn't know if I'd call myself and put myself in the category yet, but I do know that when other people with ADHD see the systems I put up in my business and the systems and the people I surround myself, they are often my wife's best friend. Mentioned this just a few weeks ago. She's like, she has ADHD. She's like, I don't know how Justin does it. How does he do all these? How does he run a business? Because I can barely, and she's a mom of two full-time, and toddler and a newborn. And Tia, my wife, has said, yeah, I think it's because of the systems he has learned to implement to compensate for his weaknesses. So at a high level, I can say, it's about systems. That's what wins in terms of getting the content out there, getting things organized, and doing this well.
It reminds me of a friend of mine. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the King of Random on YouTube. He passed away several years ago, but he was one of the top 10 YouTubers of all time. All time. And I'm really good friends with his wife. I don't know if he was ever diagnosed with ADHD or whatever. I think some people could argue this, that, and the other. And frankly, it's becoming quite trendy on TikTok and Instagram to be like, hey, here's some symptoms. And now we all think we have it, right?
Yeah.
But I remember watching him work. He built this YouTube channel. And because he was also a pilot, systems were a foundational and fundamental part of operations. So he founded this channel, and then when a viral video would go viral, he would break it down and essentially create a flight plan.
when you're a pilot,
Nice.
you got to check the flaps, you got to
Yep.
check the ailerons, you got to check your air pressure, you got to check everything before you can even take off. And that requires absolute systems. And he did the same thing with his YouTube channel. He's like, and it's not times to post. It's like, here's how the title performs best. And here's how to construct your intro. And here's where to put the sponsored commercial in. And here's how to it was like extensive. And you've done the same thing with short form media because of these systems that you created.
Yeah, essentially. Perhaps not in the here's the exact thing you need to say and having an outline like that. We do have a framework in terms of like the what's in the video, but in terms of the systems, I find video, it's less about the content in the video. Now it is. I shouldn't say it isn't, but it is doing video effectively and efficiently together. Effectively and efficiently is more about the systems you implement way ahead of the video shoot than it is the actual stuff that goes into the video. Again, not to discount what goes in the video, but there's way more of it before and even I would say after to make that video successful.
Okay, I want to dive into that. But before we do, I want to highlight that when it sounds like when people don't know the systems, it's because one, they don't know human psychology and how we respond to things, right? And number two, I would say their video doesn't catch, like you said, not because the content isn't good. It sounds like just because the wrapping paper isn't great. I think of it this way, and this is my fault, so I'm going to throw myself under the bus here. But my husband, every time he goes to Costco, buys me flowers. It's one of the sweetest things about him. And he would put them, just set them on the counter with all the groceries, right? And me in my brain, I'm such a literal person. I was like, are those for, like, where did these go? I was so stupid. I was like, I don't even know they're for me. And
intake groceries, put groceries in fridge, put groceries in cupboard, flowers, error. Where flowers go, error.
You're reading my brain. But he was being sweet. He was gifting them to me. And I was like, baby, I've got a handicapped brain. You got to walk over to me and say, hey, I love you. I got you flowers.
Yeah.
That's when it clicks. Oh, cool. Thank you. And so I felt so bad because it was going over my head because I was some moron. But I was like, you got to help me out with the presentation because I'm an idiot.
The presentation matters in terms of the purpose of the gift, of the thing. You're right.
So it sounds like
great analogy.
It's the same that you've done with the content. The content is great, but if it's not in a way that we recognize why we should pay attention to it or how good it is, then good people go unnoticed. And that's what you're trying to solve.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the way you put that.
So tell us about the breakdown. You said it starts long before filming day.
Yeah. The first problem that I see is that folks, they don't have time. That's the 80% of the challenge, because it's intuition that if I'm going to do a video, it's going to take time. If you actually pursue that line of thinking, depending on the kind of video you're going to do, it doesn't. But most people just assume, right? We use a shortcut in our brain, a bias, whatever you want to call it, to say, oh, if this, then that. So the first system we implement with our clients, and this is something anybody can do, is we just block off time in their calendar every month. We're doing this remotely. We're not an in-person video agency. A lot of people first assume, that's another assumption, oh, I have to get someone, a videographer, to help me. Someone on my team has to shoot. No, if you block off 30 minutes, or in our case, our clients, an hour, once a month, now you've set aside the time. Okay, time figured out. Now what do we do with that time? Well, the next challenge becomes, okay, let's assume the time challenge is solved. I've done the time thing. The next challenge is, well, I don't know what to say, or I don't know how to say it succinctly.
I get that all the time.
Yeah, it's a common one. Okay, well, let's assume I make the time. How do I say it in a way that's compelling and short? Well, if you look at how we get into flow in terms of sharing useful information as humans, where do we often get into flow the easiest? And it's by having conversations. If you're talking with your best friend about something, you can just talk about it. There's no, you just talk. You share it and then go back and forth. So we're leveraging that effect, whatever you want to call that, talking with another human being in that hour. So again, you can do this at home. This is all DIY. None of what we're doing is like custom to us. You can find it. I call it the content buddy system. Literally, you go find a buddy, You book an hour once a month and you say, hey, I want to talk about this. Can we talk about that when we meet? And then we'll talk about you too. And we'll go back and forth and let's record it and then see what happens.
Oh,
So that's essentially what our
brilliant.
clients tap into is the time, booking the time on the calendar, and then having a conversation to making the process of doing the video, getting content out there more flowy rather than stop, start, and 100 takes later, you're still no further than where you wish you'd be.
I have to tell you, I'm so relieved to hear you say that. I've done this where, you know, what you're talking about sounds like a podcast episode. We just put a camera up and we
It is
talk.
essentially a form of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I've done it what I perceive when judged to be the hard way, which works for some people. I don't want to put it that way, but I've got a friend who's very successful. It very well works for her. 3 million followers on TikTok. And she offered to help me out one day. And we come over when we film for an hour and I'm changing outfits and I'm doing all these dances and trying to sync it with the music. And I got to tell you, Justin, I was exhausted by the end of that day. And I was like, these might go viral, but I don't know if I want to do this again.
Yeah, there's a lot of, if your standard is virality, that is more work. It is more work. Our standard for our clients is not virality. And I think you bring up a really good point. I'm glad you brought it up because the kinds of videos we do for our clients, they're conversation based. They're talking heads. They're boring in many ways. You're not in this niche and this is not a and then we talk about how do we make it not boring. There is a solution and I can touch on that if you want, but
please.
These are just talking head videos. So they're not going to ever make you go viral. The point is not virality. The point is effectiveness with resonating with your clients' pain points, because we're helping B2B service providers and SaaS founders talk to their audience right where they are, right where the challenges they have. And you don't need a viral video to do that. You just need a short amount of words to share a before and after perspective change. You might see it this way, but actually it's this way. Or you may need a short amount of words to describe a tip. Here's something I learned. You can try it too. There's a lot of different ways once you boil it down to, I just want to stay in touch with my network and I want to give value over time to give that value. It's not about virality.
Well, I like that you say that because I have made the judgment on myself, and I know I'm not the only one that has done this. And maybe if you're listening, you're like me, where you look at these influencers, or, you know, you can call them whatever you want. Anyone that has more followers than you do, that the tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands are up in the millions now. And you're like, well, I guess I can't have a successful business because I don't have the 250,000 followers or whatever it is. And Justin, what you're saying is exactly the opposite of that. We're not casting a wide net.
No.
We are going for deep impact with individuals. And you know what? I have found that is my favorite way to grow. Because then your name is brought up in rooms you're not in because of the deep impact, instead of, oh, did you see this video, when you don't know anybody in it.
Right.
So
I've seen plenty of videos that I liked that were impactful, that I forgot to subscribe to the person, and that was a one and done.
Yeah.
And they're completely lost to anonymity. It was a great viral video, but it came through my feed. Maybe I subscribed, maybe I didn't, maybe I followed, maybe I didn't. But if I get somebody in my network that I trust saying, hey, you should talk to this person, here's their content. It's about enhancing the work that we're all doing in business every day, which is connecting with people. It's more about enhancing that and deepening that connection one-on-one than it is about assembling a bunch of followers who will probably never buy.
Oh, amen to that. And that's the way my friend runs her business. It's not about followers buying, it's brand deals. So she's getting sponsored and paid to post, which is just a different model. And that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you say that, this deep impact, because today is a day of ahas in the moment, because I just had one. I was thinking about what you said about deep impact and whether we follow it or not, and who is the person behind the Instagram. You know what's funny is that the person that introduced me and my husband, the very first interface my husband had with me before we even met was my Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like,
yeah.
Our mutual friend sent him my Instagram, and he said, and I'm not trying to self-flatter, but this was pretty cool. He said, oh, she's a badass. And I was like, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. So as far as deep impact goes, I guess I can say social media got me my husband, but
there you go. Hey, attribution 101.
Right.
If they mention it along the way.
Right. But it's this
this drive to say this, but it's not always for dating, but it could be. But it's this B2B is kind of a dating process. You have to
It
get
is.
to know, you have to get to like, you have to get to trust. And so I like that you broke it down into steps and solve the time problem, because most of us, we all have 24 hours in a day. So we don't really have a time problem. We have a priority problem. And so we just need to make it on the calendar. So schedule it in advance so it's a priority. Don't put anything over it. Then invite a friend over, sit down,
Yep.
talk
You've
to
got
each other.
accountability there too, by the way. That's another, I can just skip it. I don't have time today. That nervousness comes up. Nope, you have accountability now that you have a friend in there too.
That's brilliant. That's a good point. So you got your friend, you're both doing it. You're not crapping out on each other. You got your gym buddy or whatever,
Yep,
you're
that's
sitting
right.
down and filming it. Now what?
So now that you're filming, you've got the hour, you've got your buddy. With our clients, what we do is we prepare a number of topics ahead of time based on our original strategy call with them. So just like your typical intake call, tell me about you, tell me about your customers, what are their challenges? This is marketing 101 type stuff. If you've ever been around a marketer or you are a marketer, you know these are the things that every marketer does. You understand the business model and the offers of the business model and the audience, and just you're gathering information. So we gather that information and then we send them topics ahead of time so that, and this is a little hack. If you get asked a question before the actual sit down event, we tell our clients, you don't have to go and write out your answers. We send them a Google Doc with the session number. Oh, we're doing session 3 today. Go look at the 5, 8 questions or whatever plan they're on. If you send somebody a question ahead of time and say, hey, don't write anything, just read the questions. And it's, 24, 48 hours ahead of time, your subconscious gets to work answering those questions so that when you sit down for the call, it's not, hey, let me spring it on you, news interview style. What do you think about the current state of affairs in blah, blah, blah. And you're like, white, just eyes wide. That's not what we're talking about here, because that's often what people think of. Again, bias, assumption. Oh, if I'm doing video, it takes time. Oh, if I'm video, I don't know what to say. Oh, video, I'm going to be in the spotlight. I'll be like this. No, if you send the questions ahead of time that you're going to be asking, you can kind of direct your subconscious knows what to do with that information.
So
that's what
really
we do
cool
with our clients.
So you're triggering the reticular activating system in the brain, saying 24 to 48 hours ahead of time. I saw you smile and you're like, yep, this is exactly what we're doing. So now your RAS is looking for examples and evidences and all of these things. Do you think there's any merit to on the fly? I do my podcast on the fly. I don't like pre-canned scheduled questions, but maybe it's different for content.
It's a mix. So that's where you get the beauty of a person live in the call asking follow-up questions.
Okay.
So yes, you're getting the flow answer, which by the way can cut down, and often does cut down on the ums and ahs and the stops and starts.
Yeah.
It really gets somebody to get their points out there more flowy, which is what makes for good short form content or any good content. But then you throw in a person who knows how to ask good follow-up questions, like a good coach in many ways. We call it's our producer on our team. I'm the producer these days. We're looking for a new producer right now to replace me. But essentially, just be curious. You partner up with a curious human being, you're going to get that by nature. Well, tell me more about that. Well, if you said this, what does it mean? I want to go back to this point, right? Like what questions good reporters ask, good coaches ask. That's what you want in your buddy. Now, again, you can do this yourself and you'll figure it out over time what that looks like. But that's what we do with our clients. We ask good follow-up questions so that we can flesh out the idea if it's not fleshed out fully. Or maybe they just dropped like a gold nugget, like it referenced one. You're like, hold on a second. You can't just leave me hanging. Tell me more about that. And then in editing, which is not something clients have to do, our team takes care of it. Our editors know how to take those points and cut them down so you have a fully fleshed out gold nugget, which brings me to my final point. That's how it's different than podcasting. So when we're doing these episodes, it's kind of like podcasting, but it would be a really weird podcast if you played it back, because there's a lot of, okay, tell me more about, okay, let's go back to this. And then, all right, I want you to say this for your hook. Because our producers, like myself, we've all learned what makes for a good hook. So we're absorbing, hearing. I'm hearing you say this. I'm hearing you say this. I think this would be a good hook. And the hook is the most important part of any good video. That's the only part you're missing out on if you're doing this DIY, unless you watch really good videos and you know how to introduce your point with that first 3 to 5 seconds of what you're going to say. Like everybody thinks video marketing is about performance, but it's actually about something completely different. That's an example of a hook.
Yeah.
Right. So our producers, then we give hook options to the person, and then our editor takes, but it's at the end, similar to how when we jumped on this podcast, you said, hey, we're going to talk and then I'll give the introduction. That's exactly how we do it in our sessions, where I can't give a hook to somebody if I don't know what they're going to talk about ahead of time. I know what it could be. I'll give you an example of one, but we absorb that, and like a good AI, we're synthesizing. And I think this would be a good hook. And then our editor goes, finds it at the end, puts it at the front, and then we go into the editor finds the gold nugget in the previous conversation.
I just got a gold nugget. That's actually why I have this gold brick behind me. This represents all my gold nuggets, right?
Ooh.
So this gold nugget that you just dropped really changes the way that people are thinking about short form media. When we deliver this content, when we're talking heads, when we're talking about what our expertise is on, I think, at least my experience has been, I think about that differently than I think about producing content for Instagram or social media.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get into this backwards way of thinking, and we say, okay, everyone's talking about how I should have a good hook, and my video starts with a hook, so I'm going to download this free guide that I found online, which is probably perfectly useful, of 30 free examples of hooks that you can use. But the bass awkwardness of it is that even though, chronologically, your video will start with a hook, sequentially, your discovery of your own hook doesn't come until after you've delivered your content.
It's similar to writing a LinkedIn post or writing a blog post or writing a newspaper article. I've talked to people who are former reporters in the content world, and they've told me the time they spend on that hook, on that headline, is more often than the article itself. The goal is you write it out, you get all your thoughts out there, then you find the hook, whether it's a written post or in our case, a video.
The last 3 minutes, if I had understood this principle, probably could have saved me 120 hours of work. Yeah. Like, I'm not even kidding. In my school community, in my blog post, in my writing, in my email composition, if I had just understood, then it's the same for public speaking. The first 3 introduction questions come from your content. If I had just made that connection, I could have saved myself so much work of staring at a blank screen, damning my idea because I thought I had to create my hook first before I did anything. And then we get this analysis paralysis. You just solved. I hope everyone that's listening just underlined, highlighted, excerpted that point, because that is going to save you so much time, stress, and worry and burnout, quite frankly.
Yeah, well, burnout, right? And it's got to be sustainable. And that's the end goal with this system. Sustainable systems win every time. Not maybe in the short form with viral content, again, because that's not the goal. But if you put yourself out there, you have a system to make it sustainable. And I would argue it's a little bit fun too. That it makes it even more sustainable. You have something you look forward to. Then you have something that can win you business over time. Even if every so often the content isn't quite doing what you want it to. It's not about the one and done, oh man, we didn't quite hit our targets. It's about over time, you're being consistent in this, because you have a sustainable system. That's what we're giving our clients. But anybody can do this. If you find a buddy and you have fun with it and you book the time, that's what I love about the Content Buddy system.
That's a brilliant system. Okay, the Content Buddy system. I feel like I have been being prompted over and over again to do like a content creators weekend, where we all can take a break from our pets and our kids and just grab an Airbnb, and all of us can just grab spots to create content. And then we'll end up with, some backlog, and we'll just repeat that every quarter. We should probably do that.
There you go. That's a fun version. That's a fun and sustainable version of a Content Buddy system, because you're all getting together, you're paying money, you've got the accountability of I paid the money, and then I'm actually showing up because these other people are there. And then you're probably in a less stressed environment, which is not something we can give our clients, although we do tell them, show up, let's book this for when you're at your best brain wise. We don't want to do one of these calls at 4 p.m. By the way, that's a pro tip. Ooh. If you start doing this, you're like, I'll shove it in at the end of my day. Don't do that. Do it right when your brain's at its best. For me, that's anywhere from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Different people, different hours. But yeah, if you do that weekend, like you're talking about, weekend is like, there's no stress of having to check emails. You're going to get some great content from that because your brain is just able to think and not have to worry about the burden of the workday.
You bring up a really good point. I was listening to Craig Groeschel's podcast on leadership, and he talks about this called decision fatigue. Have you heard of this?
Oh yeah. ADHD is fun fact about ADHD, decision fatigue. I believe there's a strong correlation between decision fatigue and what's called executive function, which is the word we use in ADHD for actually everybody has executive function, which is another way to talk about decision fatigue. Right. But people with ADHD wake up with like 3 units out of 10, let's say, of executive function. And the average person might wake up with 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10. So decision fatigue is exactly that. It's when you run out of the ability of you run out of executive function juice, the ability to think with your whole brain.
That's crazy. So he said the same thing you did about the time of day mattering. He was actually using an example from, what were they? It was, who was the person that criminals go to when they, parole officers. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So he was saying that parole officers, when they hear cases, in the morning, get this, 70% of cases are granted parole.
Oh my gosh.
In the afternoon, it's 4%.
Wait, what? 4?
Yeah.
Oh my word.
4%. Compared to 70%. So if your case is heard in the afternoon, you are screwed because of the decision fatigue. They want to go home. They want to be with their families. They're tired of making decisions. I think what you're bringing up is this beautiful awareness of when am I at my best and how can I pre-decide and pre-plan to do the work that I, first of all, think is fun and want to do. Second of all, have an accountability buddy for, like, this is that self-awareness is, I mean, you can't overstate that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge gold nugget.
You know, when you go to the gym, you know, nobody likes going to the gym. Everybody knows it's a good idea to go to the gym. Who goes to the gym? Well, 2 people that figured out something to hold themselves accountable because they have strong internal locus of control, if you want to call it that. I know that if I don't do this, it'll be wrong. My wife's one of those people. I'm an externally motivated person. So the other kind of person that goes to the gym successfully is people that say, hey, so-and-so, do you want to go to the gym with me? Or you hire a personal trainer, right? So you have that accountability. I paid the money. Oh, they're expecting me. Find a system that works for you as a human being. Not everyone's system is the same.
Oh, okay. I love that we're back to the systems conversation. So we've got these key elements. We've got a scheduled ahead. We got a buddy. We've got the conversation. We filmed it. Now it comes to, let's just say that I don't have an editing team. I'm going to need one eventually, but I'm not starting today with an editing team.
Yeah.
And I've got an hour's worth of content. I know now that I should be skimming and searching in that hour for that gold nugget, that mic drop for the, okay, tell me what to do then.
You're not going to enjoy it. Don't do it. Don't skim it. Throw it on Descript. Throw it on Riverside. Throw it on Opus Clips. Let the AI do it for you. Work smarter, not harder. You're not going to enjoy it. Don't even try it.
I love that you said that. But let me tell you what I do. So I throw it in Opus. I love my Opus. Yeah. Okay. But bless its heart. AI, I love you. When you take over the world, think of me because I love you. Know that we were buddies. I do have some feedback for you, though. What I have found, and maybe it's just the model needs to learn still, is that the clips that I find most interesting when I go into Opus don't have the highest Opus rating for likelihood of being good.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
So I find when I get down to the 68%, 72% chance that it will do well, those are the ones that I enjoy listening to. Mm-hmm. And so what do you think, after I upload everything, how should a human interact with this AI? Am I doing it wrong saying, well, I'm not interested? Or should I, go with my gut? Like, once you've uploaded everything, how do you know what you should post?
That's a great question. I have used Opus in the past. I don't anymore because I have an editing team. So there's 2 answers to this question. Number one, if you're working with us, I mean, we're figuring it out ahead of time. That's what the topic
you guys got this.
For. And our editors, I do it, or my producer, my editors figure it out. We help you figure out what's the most compelling. You have a human from the outside perspective doing this work.
Right.
But if you're doing this yourself, that is a very good question, because often I could argue, I could see it go both ways, right? You're like, oh, I think this is the most important, but maybe your audience doesn't think it's the most important. I've posted content, for example, on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, this is good. It's like everything. This is all my best stuff. And it just 3 likes and 50 views. And then I'll post some dumb thing like, should you do B-roll or not? Like this very top of like, here's what B-roll is. It's the video that plays while you're talking, and it explodes. And I'm like, that's the least valuable. Like I'm not even telling you what's right. I'm not even giving you any insight. It's just like this random, interactive question video.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm conflicted on that. I don't know if I have a strong answer, but I will say, my hunch is, if I were in your shoes, if I were doing this, the first thing I would think of is, first of all, I don't even want to look through the clips legitimately. Like I don't have time to do that. I don't want to do that. So what if I got a VA who's native English speaker, who's always on social media, specifically LinkedIn. They have sales experience, so they know how to sell. and I say, hey, you go find what you think are the best clips based on what you know about my audience. And I would teach them what my audience wants. I'd share the strategy call or share my own, right? My website based on what you know about me and my audience and their pain points. Here are their pain points. Blah, 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 blah. What would you pick on their behalf?
Okay, so you get an outside perspective, so you're not analysis paralysis, judging yourself, and you've got an advocate for your audience, basically.
Yeah.
That's saying, I represent the largest demographic of your audience, your ideal client. I'm going to be the one that's going to pre-vet this. And then, okay, so let's just say that they do that and they post everything. And you said that it's like a sandwich. You've got your pre, your post, and now you've got your after feedback. Tell us about that system.
Yeah. So the thing that we realized after doing this for a little bit was, well, we're not actually ever going back and looking at what's working, what's not working. So we added on this step where, and I'll be honest, it's not my favorite step because I hate looking back. I just had a conversation today with a partner of mine in business, and she's all about KPIs and systems and operations. And I'm like, I'm not an operations guy. I like to look forward, not backward. So again, this is something where I need someone on my team to help me do this and for our clients. But there's a step every 3 months we use tools like Aware or even LinkedIn Analytics, the native analytics, to see how are the videos doing. Are we getting engagement? Are we getting comments? What's the quality of the engagement, right? And then we ask questions like, are you hearing your clients mention your video content? Are you getting opportunities that are new compared to this time last year, et cetera, et cetera? So having a check-in conversation with the clients every 3 months so that we can measure the performance of the content over time.
You know, that's something that's brilliant. And I have to say, I appreciate, and I didn't even have an awareness for this. I appreciate when my members and my clients come to me and said, I just listened to this podcast and I loved it. And so my brain wants to almost interrogate them and say, well, what did you love about it? Was it this? Was it this? Was it this? And tell me if I'm wrong, but the quality of engagement that you're talking about comes from I would say the highest quality is when I'm getting direct feedback unprompted and saying that they liked it. And for
100%.
me, yeah, okay, good. So I'm good there. And then the second most valuable, I would imagine, is the comments and the responses and when it causes someone to speak back with me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. If you get somebody, there are two things here. So we're talking LinkedIn specifically, B2B audience, right? I'm not talking YouTube or any other platforms, but on LinkedIn specifically, there are two indicators of strong, rich engagement. And I rank them, right? And at the lowest, it's like likes. Didn't take anybody any time to just hit a like.
Effort.
Someone could have hit it. There's automations that do that for you now, that it's like likes are the cheapest form of engagement. But at the very top, people usually don't think about it this way. They're shares. And the reason why that's so important on LinkedIn versus other platforms is that when you share a piece of content on LinkedIn, you're putting your professional reputation on the line.
Yes. Thank you for saying
way
that.
Way more at stake when you do a share. So if you do get a share, it's powerful. It shows that somebody really believes in what you're saying enough to put their reputation on the line for you. And then right before that are, to your point, comments, specifically comments that add a perspective to the post, not just great job or this was interesting. Those have value, but comments themselves are not just in one bucket. There's two buckets. There's somebody took the time to comment, but also above that is took the time to comment and add some value and add some perspective and add a story or ask a question.
You know,
that's how you know your video is resonating.
And I wonder why conflict videos or manufactured outrage is what I call it. This manufactured outrage video is so viral, is because those comments offer a negative or at least a contradictory response. There was a video that keeps going through my mind of a guy who was teaching a principal. I don't even remember the principal, but he was packing his suitcase for a trip and he put his toothbrush next to his shoes. And in the entire comment section, it's like, why are you putting your toothbrush next to your shoes? That's disgusting. And part of me is like, okay, so I'm observing what gets a response. And that here I am talking about it. I don't know the guy who made it. I don't remember the content, but I remember the conflict. And I'm asking myself, okay, there's value in the eyeballs somewhat.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what's important to this guy or his name.
No.
So now
you and 99% of everybody else, if it was a viral video.
Right. So it's this trick, if you will, that we're all being taught to do, of do something in your video to keep attention. But I kind of shy away from that because of exactly what this is doing to us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of I saw a challenge recently, which was if you were on TikTok for the last 2 hours, stop and tell me what did you watch. Give me an idea of 3 videos you watched.
That's
And
oh
it's
my
very
gosh.
difficult to do because what's happening is we're getting entertained, but we're not retaining any of it because we're looking for dopamine hits without having any substance. Now, the only times that's changed for me, and I'm aware of that because I'm not a TikTok guy, I'm a
Yeah.
YouTube Shorts guy. And I've tried to be more aware of what I'm watching recently. Like, if I were to be asked that question in 30 minutes, what would I say? Would I remember this video? And I go, no, I wouldn't remember this video.
Yeah.
So again, the point is not virality because all those videos you're watching are viral videos. They're meant to
Exactly.
entertain. And you might remember kind of the person like, oh, the wood cutting guy. He takes the old burned pieces of wood, but what's his name? I don't know. What was the thing he was teaching me? I don't know. But it's useful for that if you see them regularly in your feed, which can happen. But now we're talking about a whole different kind of video and a whole kind of purpose. This is for education, or I'm sorry, entertainment primarily with a dose of education. When we're on LinkedIn, it's primarily education with a dose of entertainment, if you can fit that in there.
I think I'm glad that you're discussing LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm.
In my experience anyway. I'm a LinkedIn idiot. And I go back, I'm going to have to record a response video because I recorded a YouTube video probably 10 years ago poo-pooing on LinkedIn because I didn't know how to use it, in all honesty. But I said, nah, nobody really goes there. People don't hang out there, blah, blah, blah. And that was the dumbest thing I could have said. Not true because it's on the internet, guys. This is me repenting. And I am trying to relearn LinkedIn. I was talking with someone just yesterday on the show, and they said, even down to the point where when you leave a comment for someone and then like the post instead of doing it in reverse order, it gets more traction. You know, now we're talking algorithm and all that, but
yeah.
Back to the buddy system. Oh my gosh, I might be a little bit ADHD because I just exploded with a whole nother podcast in my head with you about different ideas and engagement. But I want to get back and I need to focus. Okay, so after the fact, if I'm looking at how good, if I'm going to judge the goodness of the content, how good was it? Shares are king.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because, and I like what you said, I'm putting my reputation on the line. I'm essentially, you're the MC and you're advocating for this person.
That's right.
At live events, I don't introduce anyone whose message I can't get behind. So that's kind of what you're doing with shares.
Yeah.
With comments, they're the queen. If we're talking a deck of cards, the comments are queen, and you've got these two qualities of comments of this good job, thumbs up, or contributing to the story.
Yep.
Right. So at the same time, you're teaching me how to better be a consumer of social media as well. And then you've got the cheapo likes that a computer can do, which, hooray, good for you. So what do you do with this information now? How do you break apart which part of your video created the response that it did?
There is no specific way to know what works. What you can see, though, are trends. You can see big picture trends. It's rare. I don't know if I've ever seen a specific video get a specific type of engagement. You just never know. You just never know until you do it. And then you look back and you're like, well, this video was shorter and it got more likes, but it got less comments, right? So you see the big trends. And I will never be a proponent of, if you do this kind of video with this kind of thing, it'll get you these results. Humans are fickle. What you think, again, going back to that system of like, what you think will be great is not necessarily what your audience will think would be great. All you can do is keep speaking to the pain points, how you've solved them, and trusting the process.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm thinking about this carousel that I posted on Instagram just recently. It had more views and comments, frankly, than most of the rest of my content. So in my head, it says, okay, keep as many variables as you can and then change one thing. Yeah. To see. So we're going the scientific method now. You got to test these A/B split tests and test these hypotheses. And the goal is, again, I like how you said, what's the goal, first of all, because if the goal is virality, your behavior will be different. But if the goal is connection with your audience and eventually enough of a connection to where they want now to become your customer, it may not be your most viral video. I know for me it wasn't.
No. And it won't be.
Yeah. I have a video with 3 million views and has nothing to do with anything that I talk about.
That's right. Alex Hormozy discovered this a few months ago. He put out a video assessing they did a pivot with the kind of content they were going to do. And he said, well, when we did generic stuff, we talked about workout and lifestyle, entrepreneurship, we got way more views, but way less leads. And then when we doubled down on content we were originally doing, which was about how to build a business and how to build a team and systems, we got way less views, but way more leads. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. What we do with our clients. Our clients aren't going to be famous in general, but they are hopefully going to be famous with their niche, because they're going to be known as the people who share everything about how to solve this problem. And you just have to work with them because so-and-so recommended them and I'm watching their content. Man, it's good. And I'm ready to go. Take me 2-3 months, but I'm ready to go work with this person.
I'm finding that you're painting a picture for me of back to the original message of giving a microphone to the people who have the good message. It's almost this diamond in the rough kind of a thing. The gem is out there. This person is out there that can solve your problems, and they may not be the one with the most followers, and they may not be the one with the most subscribers, and they may not be with the one who's on billboards and all of that. But if you are lucky enough to find them because either you got recommended or because maybe one day their stuff showed up on your feed, or maybe even better, someone shared it with you, those are the people to pay attention to.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of people we're recommending all the time in the B2B world who aren't doing content, who get business. But the ones who get that referral and they are doing content, they're giving themselves the biggest leg up they can in business, because now they're facilitating the referral, right? You get the referral. What's somebody going to do? They're probably going to go check out your LinkedIn, depending on the person referring you. And they're going to be more confident about booking that call with you. And maybe you didn't even get a referral. Maybe you can get inbound leads just from your content alone. But at the end of the day, if you are doing video content or any kind of content where you're thinking and you're sharing your thinking, you're going to build a more effective business than if you do nothing.
I love what you're saying. And I want to thank you for the bottom of my heart, because you have just made content way easier for me, way more authentic for me, way more doable for me because of the systems that you've just shared here today. I would imagine, what would you tell, let's just say that you've got an industry expert, I'm going to make up an industry in personal wellness. We're talking like holistic remedies or things like that. Let's just say you've got someone in that boat. They've got 20, 30 years of experience, expertise. They're clearly an expert. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They are a self-proclaimed not tech expert, right?
Yep.
But they want to help more people, and they know that social media, they've got to have a presence because that's their first tick in the credibility score. What would you recommend that they do?
I recommend you find someone that is a peer of yours or someone you trust, regardless of whether they're in the industry or not. You pair up with them. You make that time every month to have a conversation. You record the conversation. Maybe you're nervous to be on video. That's fine. You can record just the audio. You take the audio from that conversation, you put it through an AI and you ask it to give you some ideas for posts you can write. Then you start writing, or you have it help you write those and you tweak it, or you grab the clips and you grab the transcripts and you use those. There's a lot of, once you have the video, once you have the audio and the video, the sky's the limit in terms of content you can produce. Now, working with us, the benefit, of course, is that you don't have to do any of that post-production work, but you are going to have to carve out not just that hour if you do it yourself to do the recording, and then also do the post work of, I got to write this. But I would argue you're probably going to enjoy the writing process. Writing, if you don't have the budget, but you have the time, writing is the best way to do your thinking, because your thinking gets turned into dollars if you then follow up with posting it online. Most professionals never turn their thinking into dollars. It just stays one-on-one, these private conversations, and it dies with them. But if you can turn that thinking into and share it with the world, you're going to have a greater impact than if you just share it with the handful of clients you serve over your lifetime.
Well, and Alex Ramosia echoes that absolutely. I remember him saying that he wishes that he had recorded his first stuff, his very first presentations, his first ideas, his first terrible sales calls. He just recorded them, because we can grow with people who do that. We can be with peers and do it together. We can look back on our stuff and say, okay, this is what I would do differently, just like I do with my old YouTube content. Like, she was wrong. So you have put together something really cool. And I love that you keep bringing up outside perspectives and outside teams. And you've put together the greatest gift available to us, which is the gift of your time to help people along with this that you're giving away on the show today. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I have a mission of helping 10,000 service providers, founders, people who should have a voice. My mission is to give 10,000 people a voice who should have a voice, but don't yet, specifically on video. So to help me with that mission we've put together an offer where 30 minutes of my time, we book a time, we use your phone, we spend 10 minutes or so going through the technical things of framing and lighting, turn this light on, turn that light off, move it over here, blah, blah, blah. You have me guiding you. So it's no prep needed, just 10 minutes, we meet, walk you through the steps. And then the rest of that time of those 30 minutes is spent talking about a topic of your choice. If there's anything pressing on your mind, it's like, I have to talk about this. Otherwise, I'll just kick off the conversation with one of many great conversation starters I know, and we'll record the whole thing and we'll turn that into an edited video for you to use. No strings attached, no charge.
I think that's incredible. So you're basically the content buddy for the day.
I am the content buddy. For 30 minutes, you get me to help you figure out your video space if you've never done it before, or if you have done video, at least help you create one beautifully edited video from our time together.
Well, and I love that you're doing that because most of the people, if you're listening to this, it's probably because you're an expertise in your field and you need to get your voice out there, whether it's a digital stage like a podcast or short form, or maybe you're getting on physical stages as well. And most often, if you get on enough digital stages, you're going to be getting on some physical stages now and then. But what I love about what you're doing, Justin, is that you're giving people a relaxed, we've taken the pressure off. If you're worried about the lighting, don't worry. We'll help you. Just turn toward the window and I'll walk you through it right there. So it's done. You can use that space over and over again. And then you've got a built-in block of time, a built-in 30 minutes to say, okay, Justin's going to give you the prompts. He's a naturally very curious person. I know this because I've done a couple podcast episodes with him now. And I can just put my endorsement of recommendation on that. That's going to be 30 minutes exceedingly well spent, because not only will it be able to be used, but it is a repeatable process that then you can say, if I've done it once, I can do it again. You're flexing that muscle maybe for the first time, but you're getting it done. So Justin, how do people get this?
Well, they can visit my profile on LinkedIn, Justin Vajko, Vajko, and there's a link right there underneath my headline says, get a free video session on me. They can also just reach out to me, justin@dialoguewith.us. I don't have it on my website because if I did, a lot of people would be booking calls who are not those experts, but I do only share it with this audiences on podcasts and things like that. So if you want it, you have to go visit with me on LinkedIn or reach out to me directly. Happy to get that booked.
Awesome. I'll put those in the show notes. So if you're like me and you listen to this in the sauna or you're listening in your car, all of that, just make sure you get to where you're going or finish your workout, and then it'll be in the show notes. So you can go click on it and fill out that information. But I would really recommend going and connecting with Justin on LinkedIn. I'm still a baby in LinkedIn. I feel like I'm just getting my sea legs there. So I think we're connected there. But if you're already in LinkedIn, go connect with Justin. If you're not, this is your excuse to go get on LinkedIn and connect with Justin. And I'm going to steal another one from Mel Robbins because I love her. I really feel like we're besties and she doesn't know it yet. But I will say this. If anyone's name has popped into your head, this is a belief that I am learning is a truth. If anyone's name has popped into your head while you've been listening to this conversation between Justin and I, that is an indicator that they are praying for what you just got. So send this episode over to them. And if you got this episode from someone, just send them a text and say thank you, because that means that they were thinking of you on a day that maybe you weren't even thinking of yourself, and now someone else has got your back. So share this with people that you feel inspired to share it with. Just that name comes up, send it over to them on your favorite platform, Spotify or wherever you're listening. But Justin, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your expertise. Thank you for opening up and revealing the formula and for making it most of all easy for people like me to just get up and do it, because now it's in a system that's digestible.
Absolutely. Happy to do it, Marianne. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Friends, thank you for being here on the Marianne Hickman Show. If there's something that you liked about this or you have questions on, that's what the comment section is for. I love making content that exceeds your value expectations. That's what we're here for. And until then, we will see you. God bless.
Hey, what's up? Marianne Hickman here. Hey, listen, I hope you enjoyed that episode. We have some pretty amazing speakers on my podcast and, of course, more to come. If this is something that you enjoyed, guys, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. You guys know what to do. I love your comments, and I respond to every single one of them personally, not a bot or an agency. So if this is something you're enjoying, tell me about it. Tell me your gold nuggets. I want to hear from you. But here's the most important thing I want you to laser in on. I told you about the podcast database. You've probably seen me post about it all over social media. I want to make sure that you get it. So here's what I want you to do. Go to mariannehickman.com/database. Once you put all of your information in there, I'm going to send you the document. You request access to it. Boom, it's unlocked. Once you're in there, my rule of thumb is to apply to 10 podcasts a month. It's very digestible. It's very easy to do. And the database gets updated twice a week. So I want you constantly checking back in there for the next podcast that fits your audience. Thank you for being here. Much love to you, and we'll see you in the next episode.